Okay. Good morning. Getting a bit late here this morning. So. Good morning, Dave. Paper out? Yes, paper is out. Yes, for one person. It's on Ode-chan upstairs today. She's still working on the 12th, the print for December, subscription print for December. Okay, what do we got? Oh, remind me about this. The Cuban sandwiches. I went there on Saturday. I won't be going again. It's okay. It's too bad because I was hoping there would be a neat place that would have food that's different from what I get every day around here. But I won't be going again. So it seems like nice people, but no. But okay, we have a show and tell today. Which is interesting. And to show it by itself, if I just showed you this thing by itself, you're going to think like, what's special about that? But in order to help explain what's special about this, I've brought out a book from upstairs, which we will also show. So it's a combination of brand new things and something we've had for a few years. What are those guys patrolling for? And we got this special gift here the other day, and I've prepared a kettle. I have a kettle prepared. Oh, time change. Soka. I'm guessing the book includes the crabs. Oh, no, it doesn't. The book includes the crabs. No, I don't. The thing is, Tom, I know. Just hold that. I know, on the days when we get something that's arrived, it makes sense for me to do this on the day it arrives. There's days before the stream. It might be Thursday here. I come up Thursday. We don't have a little thing that's arrived. I need to find something from the collection upstairs for the stream. That's when I'll pull the crabs. So just hold on. But this arrived yesterday, so it makes sense just to show this today. So. Europe changed the clock. Does that mean it's later for you guys or earlier? I don't remember which way it goes around, Looking at it from the other side, we don't change. So I never know which way it jumps earlier. So it's easier for people over there. Morning from Edmonton. Wow. Ghost of my childhood. 13803 82nd Street. Is that what it was? The address we lived in Edmonton? The last address. 13803 82nd Street, I think. 138th Avenue and 82nd Street. In Killarney. Near the Arctic Pole. So. Okay, let's do let's try and do some work. It's really not visually interesting work at the moment. We're just carving this tree trunk, and it's just dots and stuff. So it's not visually interesting, but I do have to do it. We got to get through this. Is that the same two little girls who were running yesterday about this time? Okay, let's do a bit of work. If you've got an interesting conversation for me. And I don't know if you can see it, but we have actually blue sky out there. At least it was blue when I was setting up the camera a few minutes ago. We may be finally getting to autumn. And what other news do we have over the weekend? Yesterday, Sunday morning, we had construction here. Not ourselves, it's maintenance construction. Guy came from a repair maintenance company, got some ladders up, yesterday morning up the front of the building. Sunday was not the best time to do this because there was so many people in the neighborhood, but they got up there and they fixed the area, well, they say they fixed the area where we had crumbling mortar a couple of weeks ago. We had some things fall off the front of our building, which is very dangerous in a crowded consumer district. So, but it seems that that was fixed yesterday. So, got a good start there. Okay. You guys are still up on your clock change. That takes you you're on your clock change discussion still. So. What else? I had in mind there was a few things I was supposed to mention, a few things I was supposed to bring up during the chat here today. I didn't make any notes. I just got to remember these things if I can, one by one. Well, one was that sandwich thing. I showed you the menu there from the Cuban sandwich place. You know, we chatted about this a few days ago. I learned that there was a Cuban sandwich shop up near Ueno Station, about 15-20 minutes walk from here. But it closes really early. It closes at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's really, I guess, basically a lunch type place. But on Saturday, not having anything to do, choke. Anyway, I went up there for lunch. I walked up there, grabbed a sandwich from those guys, and headed into Ueno Park, the big giant Ueno Park. And it was jammed. The park was just full. There was a huge bonsai exhibition going on out in the middle area of the park. So I walk around and look at a bunch of bonsai trees. But anyway, I grabbed a sandwich and headed in there. I'm looking forward to this thing. And I'm sorry, I really have to say that it was disappointing. I don't know if that's how typical this particular place is for Cuban sandwiches. So the thing seems like a nice idea. It's a toasted long bun with meat and cheese and all kinds of stuff sprinkled inside. But it was really, really disappointing. It was a soggy mess. And not just because it took me 5 minutes to walk to the park. It was a soggy mess. So I don't know. I don't know whether the concept in general is not to my taste or whether it's just that particular place. But the menu looks fine. It looks great. This was pulled pork, ham, cheese, and stuff all inside a long sandwich shape. But once you got it in your mouth, it was a soggy mess. Did I demonstrate the mug? No, the mug is in reserve here. I have the mug and I have a kettle. So at the end of the stream, when we're at show and tell time, we go share a coffee together. Yeah, the bonsai exhibition, you know, I mean, I know absolutely nothing about this stuff. For me, I just sort of wandered around. Wow, that's nice, that's nice, that's nice. I know nothing about the ins and outs of bonsai at all. I know it was an exhibition. I guess it's seasonal. They do this in the different seasons. So this was the, what did they call it? I don't know, the kanji for Silver Autumn, the Silver Autumn exhibition of some national bonsai group that took over the middle of the park there. And they had, you know, little tents and tables and stuff, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bonsai. And, you know, it's cool, it's neat, but to me they all start, after a few minutes, they all start to look the same. I don't understand the nuance of this and that. And it's a thing, of course, people, they understand the balance of the arms and trees and branches and stuff. It was beautiful. Some of them are, wow, look at that, you know. And then you read the little tag beside it, and it says this is 855 years old, and stuff like this, you know. It was cool, very nice, but over my head, you know, completely over my head, you know. And then what kind of spoiled it for me, there was two big areas. There was the area with the white tents, and the bonsai on the tables underneath the tents. And then it was separated by a couple of meters space. Then there was the fair area. It was the merchants and stuff, and there was people selling yakisoba and tents full of stuff. It was like sort of a craft fair, not a craft fair. It wasn't individuals, it was companies and stuff, you know, selling stuff. And front and center, right beside the entrance when I walked in there, was something that just sort of spoiled my day. There's a company that sells what they call prints. It's in Akihabara. When you walk down the street in Akihabara, it's an art shop. And they've got some young girls that stand outside in really short mini skirts, and they grab people off the street and they say, come and look at our special, get our special gift if you come and look at the prints and stuff like this. And this is one of those scam shops where they've got posters, you know, offset printed posters that they sell for many, many hundreds of dollars, all on a credit card plan and stuff like this. And the girls chat the people up and blah, blah, blah. And they're big deal. It's extremely unethical. You know, they tell you that you're buying art as an investment, and it's just stupid freaking posters. And these guys had a booth at this bonsai exhibition, and it was crowded. You know, I'm thinking, people, run away, run away! None of my business. So I don't know how many families, whatever, they just went for a walk in the park, looked at some bonsai and got trapped by a sales pitch and a credit card, and now they're... Oh, I did remember now. Something else. Soka. There was something else I was supposed to show you. I did. It'll come back. It all comes to me bit by bit by bit by bit. On one of my own YouTube videos, somewhere Friday night or something, or Saturday or whatever, I don't remember what it was, somebody commented, they said, Simon Clark sent me here. I'm like, Simon Clark sent me here. My brother's name is Simon, but not the same Simon. So I was curious about this, so I Googled YouTube Simon Clark. And it turns out there's a science blogger, a vlogger. I still can't quite get my mind around that word. Science blogger. He's a real nice guy. He's in Britain, and he went to university and got a physicist stuff and degree and blogs about science. And instead of becoming a researcher, he has become a YouTube video maker. Here's the link to his YouTube channel. Anyway, I guess, and it turns out that he is a fan of ours. He's on our Patreon list, and he bought some prints from us. I knew nothing about this. I can't, keep track of every one of our customers. Someone's asking about the Ukiyo-e Heroes prints. To talk about Ukiyo-e Heroes prints, we don't have those. We don't sell those. We just make them. But I can give you a quick link. Oh, somebody's got it. Wind in the Willows here has got Wind Pillows has beat me to it. That's your link. That's Jed's website where he has the Heroes prints. Anyways, Simon Clark, he put a video up, I guess, a few days ago, not talking about science. He usually talks about science and climate change and stuff like this, it seems. I've been looking at some of his past videos. But he did something that I'm sort of smiling at. I haven't met the guy yet. He seems like a really, really nice young man, so it's okay. And it was his birthday last week, I guess, and to celebrate, he put up a birthday video explaining sort of the secrets of life, and it was fun. It was fun to listen to, and I agree with a bunch of the stuff there, not all of it. But it was really, really funny to see a young man on his 30th birthday telling us all about the secrets of life and how to do things well. And I'm really, really happy to see this. It's okay, but I got to be grinning ear to ear, Like, for example, my mother might be listening to the stream here this morning, so I could tell her, hey, Mom, I found this neat website. Go to this place, and this young guy is going to tell you all about how to live a good, happy life, And my mother is not 30. And she would probably just look at this, and if she's feeling in a good mood, she would just smile. Okay, that's nice. Anyway, it was nice to get a shout out in his video. I guess he got a great wave. Some years back, or a couple of years back. And he speaks politely of our work here, so it's fine. He's working in climatology. Is that the word? I'm not sure. It seems he did his research on things like polar vortexes and stuff like this. And when you see this and see this sort of thing, we feel curious about this. And someone like that in his 20s and 30s has gone to university, studied science, and we're in the middle of this massive change in the way humans are thinking. Stuff like climate change, which nobody ever even talked about or recognized back when I was in school and stuff like that. And now it's become the topic. So anybody who is now in college or thinking about studying stuff in science, of course, they are very much thinking, let's get involved with climate change, let's learn what we can about this, let's save the world and do all these sort of things, But it must be for some people like that, they are not by themselves. They are members of scientific teams which do research and study on projects that take many, many years. And each particular individual, it's really, really difficult to see their contribution to the thing. You get the idea. You're a member of a scientific team. You're doing research, and your little tiny bit of research will join together with other people's research into making the big picture and put things together. But for the individual doing it, the individual in the college or the research institution or the company or wherever these things are happening, it must sometimes feel very frustrating. You know intellectually that what you're doing is something important, part of a very large project, and your little corner of their research, etc., helps to put together the bigger picture, but yet you can't feel your own contribution. Nobody can see your contribution. It's just part of a bigger picture. So intellectually, you know that it's work that needs to be done and it's something important, but on the day-by-day enjoyment of life basis and things like this, it must be very, very difficult and frustrating. For me, I can see clearly the results of my work. What I do every day, I can see the result, and what I do after the end of the week or the month or whatever, I see the result. There it is, there's what I did, stand back, look at it, criticize it, think it's nice, do it better next time, whatever. But I can see physical results from my activities. And it really helps the meaning and the feeling, and yeah, I did a good day today, And I'm not sure how those guys handle that sort of thing when you can't see any results from what you're doing, In the case of this young man here, Simon, it's a little bit different for him because he's doing both. I guess he's doing research and stuff, but also he's doing things like YouTube videos and whatever, which people comment on. And you can see he brought some information or knowledge to somebody. So in his case, he has much better feedback, much better sense of his participation in these large projects. But I wonder what it must like to be a scientist these days, when your own individual contribution is almost certainly never going to be seen and recognized, I guess they know this when they go in, when they start, so it's okay. And there's the idea that I'm going to get a Nobel Prize and all that kind of stuff, But it's like, it's like anything, The number of people that can reach that level are pretty few. Or it's just me asking the wrong questions, Maybe somebody who is interested in science and going in for science, the ego part of it is perhaps not there. They're happy to do that sort of thing. Find a lab, get in there, do research, be assigned projects, do something, and quietly work on your research, and go home and play with your kids, So I guess the fact that I'm asking this question means I'm really not suited to that type of work, I guess, obviously. So. So my mother's multitasking, is she? Watching me on the computer and TV on the TV. But wait a minute, Mom, how's this happening? My mother, the computer is in one room and her TV is in another room. So how is she actually doing this? Running back and forth down the hallway? I'm kind of curious what's happening here. Maybe at the moment I'm asking my mother this question, she's down the hallway watching the TV for a minute, then she's going to come back. Discussion about the science, yes, okay. I can't read it all right now. As you know, I will read this later, absolutely. So. My mother's story doesn't check out. It's fair enough, because I think she's caught me enough times when I've been telling something about the past and my mother says, that's not what happened. It's okay. There's another curious thing worth a smile, and meeting that young physicist Simon Clark. Not meeting him, I was learning about his videos on his website. And he mentioned, as I said, he mentioned my work and stuff in the website. And in this last video that he put up the other day, he did talk about things like supporting other people's work. And he specifically called me out on that. He mentioned two of the people he's supporting on Patreon. After seeing that, I thought, wait, what? So I went to the database here and looked up in our Patreon. And yes, Simon is in there, and he's been a supporter of our Patreon for a long time. And this is not giving out private information. I think it's okay. He mentions there on his own video that he's supporting us. But he himself has a Patreon. So it's funny, I watched one of his videos, two of his videos, three of his videos, and liked these, and thought, yeah, should I go over there and support his Patreon? It gets to be a bit of an interesting question here. He's giving me the couple of dollars a month on Patreon. Should I go over to his Patreon and pay him a couple of dollars a month on his Patreon? And it seems like, common sense thing to do, except it seems like the most silly, ridiculous thing to do. Both are true at the same time. He gives the money with his left hand, I give it back with my right hand, and away we go, and we pay the companies in the middle their piece, But when you think about it, that's the way the real world works, I make the woodblock prints, and I go down the street to the bakery, and I buy the baker's bread and bring it back and have it for lunch. And the baker goes out and uses the money I give him. He goes to the plumber shop and calls the plumber to fix his work. And the plumber goes next door and he calls the dentist, and then the dentist comes over and buys my woodblock print. You know the deal. That's the way it goes, around and around and around. So if I have a Patreon and Simon has a Patreon, why not just cut out the middleman? Whatever. I can support his and he can support mine. And but of course it sounds like it doesn't make any sense, The world is going into strange places. How we do this thing, how capitalism works, and how we all share our labor. The model that's been in place, like the one I said, me, the baker, the dentist, the plumber, the model that we've had now for the past few hundred years has really kind of worked really neatly. It makes a lot of sense, Is it viable going forward? I don't know. I'd like to read this, but I can't. I'm sorry. Yeah, Windwell is here is expressing this. Of course, scientists work. Each person is putting their little bricks into the big building. We get it, of course. I wasn't dissing this at all. Just as I said, it's my own personality feeling a bit frustrated about that, because I guess maybe it's just an ego or a selfish thing. I would want more people to be saying, wow, that's great, that's cool, that's great. And I get that from what I do, but if I was a scientist working with my little one corner of it, it wouldn't be there. So I don't know. I wasn't really complaining about science. I was just complaining about my own view of the world and how it works here. And we choose our own stuff. We choose our own path, and so Yes, it is indeed a sunny day in Tokyo. You can see blue sky in the distance there. Language discussion. And a part of the reason why it looks blue today, why it doesn't some days, we're looking away from the sun. The sun is behind us. The camera I've got is a sort of an average handy cam. And if I were pointing it in the other direction today, it would be washed out. So the sky would look white, even though it's the same blue sky over there. So, but yeah, it's a nice day. It's been rare for us. We really have not had many blue sky days. And no complaints so much this year, because we also haven't had massive typhoons crashing over us this year. Last year was a terrible year for that. This year, so far, it looks like we're okay. So no complaints, no complaints. It's chilly but clear, so. The vacuum cleaner across the street near the hotel. The lady cleaning the hotel lobby and outside. So. Is that in our part of town here? What's happening there? What's going on? That's the normal Oshibori truck. Why would he do that, backing up like that? Not their normal behavior. Nay, they normally park right in front of our place. New driver, who knows? Someone says loud vacuum cleaner. We do have a microphone outside. The camera outside has its own mic and its own audio pickup. So there's a different background conversation going on. Great, whatever, go for it, go for it, go for it. Oh yeah, they're crisscrossed. The garbage truck wants to be where that front truck is. So this could get noisy. Is he going to wait or is he going to go and get the garbage from there? Truck wars. So should I turn off the audio from the outside one? Let me know if it's too noisy. I'll turn the audio off outside. So the garbage guy's going to wait, is he, for them to leave instead of running down the street? Nothing's happening, just noise, noise, noise to show. Oh, he did run. Okay, this is now going to get noisy because that's, let me turn off that audio just a second. Testing, 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 I'm here. Because it's going to crunch now, right outside the microphone. So. I know yesterday, it was really busy outside in the Saxon yesterday. And I was standing outside chatting with the Don, the guy who runs the Merchants Association here. He's the owner of the Whale restaurant across there. And his business actually now is nothing to do with Corona so much. His business is in a generational slump. His customers, people that want to eat whale meat, they're the same kind of people that do the horse racing and stuff like that. The older guys, people my age, not foreigners, but Japanese people my age are his main customers. And the demographic in Asakusa is really, really, really changing. It's a young crowd now, and on weekends it's really a super young crowd. It's couples and young girls walking together, high school kids, just some families, and they're not the slightest bit interested in eating whale meat. So his demographic is disappearing. But you can't talk to him about this. Anytime you mention this, he comes fighting right back, and he's upset about it. So whatever. So you just don't talk to the guy about that. But he was in a chatty mood yesterday, and the rent situation around here, we've talked about some of this. The camera's pointing the other direction, but in the opposite direction, there's the empty corner. And there's a real standoff going on there with the rent. And he gave me more background. He gave me more background. There was an udon restaurant there, and they'd had rent. He didn't know how much rent they'd been paying, but the rent had been increased to 5,000 per month. I'll do this in dollars. It was 500,000 yen, but $5,000. And that had been over their limit, so out they went. This is, what was it, half a year ago, 5, 6 months ago, out they went. The owner that is a lot of garbage for one little tiny restaurant to show. It was the weekend. Busy, busy, busy weekend. So anyway, the udon guys left. The owner now put it on the market, and he put it on the market right there at 500,000 and got a ton of replies. So instantly took it off the market, put it up to double that, to 10,000 per month. And this is the story from the Dawn yesterday, he got 5 serious people bidding on this at 10,000 a month. So again, he pulls it off the market. He put it up to 150, or it was 150 or 160. I've heard the story both ways now. So 15,000 per month or 16,000 a month. 2 people drop out, and it's now down to the last 3. So he's thinking, whatever, we haven't reached our limit yet. He put it to 2 million yen per month, which is now $20,000. And at that point, it's now in hold. It's been like this for at least a month and maybe more. So whether those 3 people have all dropped out because they're not willing to it, or whether discussions are still going on, I don't know. 2 million yen is the current asking price for the corner. But whether or not he's going to get it remains to be seen. It's a spectacular location at the corner of Hoppidori there. But the building is an old, decrepit pile of junk. It had cost a fortune to build into there. 2 million a month is the asking price now. And he had lots of offers at 1.5 million. So that's the insanity that we are living in here. And this is in the middle of a freaking pandemic. And our rent here, we're not supposed to talk about it, and I won't, but we are, we're not in that league. Absolutely, we're not in that league. $2 million per month. Put the mic back on outside. All the trucks are gone. Ciao. Dave, will we consider hiring new staff in the future? The shop staff, when we open, whenever it happens, of course, we will get as much of our previous staff will come back as possible. Some of them are no longer in the labor market. They're out. They've had babies and stuff like that. But at the moment, the only hiring we could possibly consider doing at the moment is experienced carvers and or printers, which of course don't exist. So no, we are not in any possible hiring mode at the moment. The work that needs to be done here, the bookkeeping and the shipping and all that stuff, is being handled by our current staff. And we need more production team, but there's no such things in the market. You hear that sound? What's that, the second or third time you've heard it during this stream? It's a very, very frustrating sound for us. People are looking for one of our prints, The Great Wave, and we simply don't have it and can't supply. I got myself into that one, The list now, I have no idea. I stopped asking Cameron about it. It's well over 1,000 people. I have no idea how many are on the list now. They're coming in 8, 9, 10, 12 per day, and we're making 50, 60 prints per month. So the list is just, I can't say exponentially increasing, but it is just whatever. I don't know. And that's all, from the accountant's point of view, that's all money we're leaving on the table. So from the accountant, the advice to me would be easy. Dave, cut out all this stuff. Just cut another set of blocks for the wave. Just make more waves. Hire professional wave printers. Just make yourself a wave business, you know. And I cannot and will not do that. But it is frustrating, you know. People who want to want our products, they want to help us, they want to support us, and they want to own our products. And we cannot supply. The other day, somebody was at Amazon. He said, "Why don't you turn off that sound? It's just annoying, right? Hearing that wave sound in the background." And I'm like, it's annoying, it's frustrating, but I don't want to forget this, you know. I want to keep that in mind. How's our time? We're okay, right? No, nowhere near 8:50. We're okay. Good. Those rents, talking about the rents, how much business do you have to do to support 2 million rent? 2 million rent was what? It's about, I don't know how much per day, you know, business that runs 7 days a week. What do you need to do? That's 200, that's 10 Jumon per day. It's about $1,000 a month. 800 a day in rent. What kind of business do you have to do if you're paying rent $800 a day, you know? I don't know. We couldn't even think about it, but the businesses there are drinking. It's bars, restaurants, so, you know, this is a bar. At this point, we need another set of Great Wave blocks. Not yet, but this is a thing. This is absolutely a thing, and we are on it, actually. The current blocks for the Wave, we're now just pushing 2,000 copies of that. And the last batch that came in from Yamamoto-san, I looked quite carefully at it, and actually I've asked him, with the next batch, when you deliver the next batch next month, please send me back the blocks. And he panicked first. What, you're going to quit this? I said, no. Simply, I want to inspect the blocks now that we've reached another 1,000. I want to get the blocks under the microscope and see what's happening, so that I need to know if we need to get started on the next block set. And he said, no, they're fine. Look at this. And the lines really are. The lines are still sharp and clear because we're taking care of them so well. But anyway, so there it is. At 2,000 copies, we are still okay. But we know absolutely that at some point those blocks, or the key block mostly, will get to the point where it can't be used. So we have wood set aside. I have the next key block for the Great Wave waiting. It's in Ome. It's been waiting actually for years. So we've got the next block ready. For the tracing, we can use the same Photoshop data from my previous tracing. And Chon-san wants to do it, and he's very, very capable of doing it. So it'll be a question of scheduling, but we have the wood ready, we have the carver ready. We will be able to make another set of blocks for the Great Wave when the time comes. We're ready for this. crows coming closer. It seems they've been hanging out in a different part of town for the past few days. We haven't really heard them on the stream the last few days. I mean, the whole territory here is quite wide, so. What's the blockwear? The blockwear is the pigments. It's the hair of the brush rubbing sometimes abrasive pigments across the surface of the wood. And that rubs the corners of the carved areas down. The actual printing on top does very little wear on the blocks. It's the hair of the brush rubbing the pigments. And this is why we're really strict with our printers. We really, really push them to grind and grind and grind their pigments as finely as possible. So I was talking about that pre-baking guitar making. That's a big deal now in the guitar and violin world. I forget the word for it. We talked about it on this stream a year or so ago. Somebody told me about it, and I investigated it. I forget the word for it. There's a kind of baking that they do with wood, and we investigated. We didn't try it. We didn't get any wood, but we investigated it, and it seems actually not suitable for what we're doing at all. It helps make the wood much more resonant for things like a violin or a guitar, but it hugely dries it out. It's a kind of a forced kind of kiln drying under pressure. And it sounds like it makes wood more resonant, but it tears the guts out of it. And I don't think wood like that would be suitable for carving. But do we prepare all pigments in the shop? We buy raw powder pigments and we grind and mix everything here, of course. But most of our work is done with pretty pure stuff. We just use the pigments. We get them, grind them as fine as we can, mix them with alcohol, and then print. How smoothly should the blocks be planed or sanded before we start carving? What can I say? As smooth as possible, smoothly as possible. If you're doing a key block like this with fine lines, you can actually get away with a bit of roughness on the block because it's not going to show in the lines. But if you've got a block that's going to print a smooth, flat color, the block has to be smooth and flat. A block like this for a key, you don't want to finish it with sanding. I'm going to put that in quotes. You generally don't want to sand it because sanding, of course, it's the action of rubbing grit and boulders, grains of quartz and stuff. You scrape it across the wood and it leaves gouges and tears up the wood, happening at a microscopic scale. When you plane the wood, the knife blade slices those things and leaves an actual microscopically flat surface. And they're quite different when it comes time to print the two. If the surface of the wood has been sliced with a plane, then when it comes time to print it, it generally stays in that same condition. If the surface of the wood has been torn with sandpaper, then that seems to leave a pathway. Water seems to go in and get wicked up into the torn wood. And these thin lines here, if I started putting water on this for printing, they would swell up. They absorb the water more and swell up. But if the wood was sliced to finish, it does that less. So in general, if you're working at a super, super fine scale, You generally don't want to sand, you generally want to use a plane. Having said that, Matsumura-san, who's preparing his blocks, he does it with sandpaper, but wet, dry sandpaper, some hugely, hugely delicate grit number. I don't even know what it is, grit 3,000 or 5,000 or something. And he does it underwater. There's water spraying across the surface while the sanding is happening. It's happening with sanding belts. And that gives a real mirror surface that I couldn't complain about at all. We ourselves here at Mokankan don't have access to that kind of a machine, so our blocks are planed. We prepare them ourselves, roughly plane them ourselves, dress them to the right thickness, then we send them out to a professional place in Kiba, the lumber markets. And he's got a sort of a slicing machine that slices the top fraction off the block, leaving a mirror finish. So we don't try and do that ourselves. That's one of the few parts of our situation that is outsourced. We have time. We're okay? Oh yeah, we're still well away. What I should do though, I know we have a show and tell in 15 minutes from now, but before we get to the show and tell time, let me pop you a link so you can see the stuff. And this is funny. This is a when you see this, you're going to think like, this is a big deal. And nobody else bid on this thing, and I know why they didn't bid on it, because nobody knows what these are. How many is that during the stream? 3 during the stream today? I sound negative about this. I'm sorry. It's wonderful. People want our stuff. It's wonderful. They want our stuff. Okay, anyway, here's a link. This is the thing that is going to be part of our show and tell today. And it doesn't look like anything special. That's what I said. The object itself is nothing special, so I brought something else from the collection upstairs to show exactly what is going on here. What about getting a robot and precision cutting metal blocks? Yes, of course. I mean, the printing business, the global printing business is really good at putting images on paper with lasers and robots and tools and machines and whatever. Printing exists. We know it exists. That's not what we do. The purpose of our own job here is to use human skills to do this very interesting job and produce a specific, very interesting result. Could it be done by robots and lasers? Yes, of course. People are doing it that way. But it's simply not what we want to do. Dave here enjoys this work of cutting and doing this job. The result when it's finished is beautiful. So if our goal was to actually make as many of the things as we possibly could, yeah, we would automate. But then nobody would want the thing, actually. paradox, very much of a paradox. The couple of sheets of paper in that auction there, they date from the 1920s. That's going to be 1925 or somewhere on there, give or take a year or 2 years. They date from an era when Japan was a big, big tourist destination, the 1920s and 1930s. Tourism was a big, big deal in Japan. Oh my God, look at this conversation. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, the machine replica type point. Okay, Soka, Soka, Soka. Yeah, yeah. Yes, if you just want the image, there, we're doing this ourselves. The collection pages we've put up, absolutely fabulous images. If you just want the picture, you don't need to buy what we do. It's okay. Someone's saying Dave will have fun reading all this, but not right now. It will be all robots and something at some point. We have laser carved prints in the shop actually already, of course. So you know. It's a bigger question than just my own little business here. You know, what does it mean to be a human being? What does it mean to make stuff when robots will be capable of making all of it, if you just play the mental question with yourself, robots, etc., we're still at the beginning of the whole robot revolution thing. We're in diapers still. Jump ahead, not 5 years, but jump ahead, whatever, 50 years, 100 years, put whatever number you want on it. When the machines and robots can really do almost all these things that humans do. What does it mean then to be a human being? How are we going to run our society? What are humans actually going to do when there's nothing left to be productive with? Can you actually survive when you're not productive? We see people who retire and sit back and then they lose it because they're not actually doing anything. It's big questions, big questions which I don't have the answer. At my own small stage of this, we're not fighting automation. We're simply going to say, automation, you go ahead and do what you want to do, and we're going to sit in one corner and just, do what we want to do. And we bring enough new value to our products. How can I explain this? The one I'm making right now, not so much. This is a reproduction of an older print. But in general, our organization and the people working here, we do bring many new things into life that didn't exist before. We make new designs, new prints. We do create stuff in the real sense of the word create. So there's always that part of our work. We're not just simply replicating something that really would be done better by machines. As to the way, the why and the where and the how, using handwork instead of mechanical work. That's a question of taste and choice, I guess, so. We saw a bit of that when I opened an auction package. Was it on the last stream or was it 2 streams before that? I had got an auction for 5 prints, and when we opened the package, there was a bunch of other stuff inside it. The guy had just put in some extra stuff. In Japanese, it's called omake. Here's some extra goodies for you. The baker might give you 1 extra donut when you buy a bag of donuts. Throw 1 in as extras. I don't know what it's called in English. Just a little something. So that package of prints I opened, there was the 5 prints that I had expected to be in there. And there was another half a dozen or so. I looked at them and tossed them aside straight away. And they were all mechanically made reproductions of Japanese ukiyo-e prints. And mechanically made, they were actually kind of interesting from an era, maybe 1920s, 1930s or so, when the woodblock printing was really sort of dying. And they're interesting, but they're absolutely of no interest to me. I tossed them aside, and if you saw them here, if you had them in your hands, looking at them side by side, you would see why. They are flat, dead, dull, and lifeless. He threw them away by throwing them into my package, and we'll just toss them on a shelf. They're of mild historical interest, but of no aesthetic interest. Must be getting close for time now, is it? Must be getting close. 9:14, that's close enough for jazz. You guys are still talking about time zones. It's funny. Wow, that's a topic that seems to keep everybody busy. Another truck. My God, another truck. Look, just so you can get a view of what's happening. Where's the overview? That's upside down. The grasses at the bottom here are pretty much finished. I'm working on this tree bit by bit by bit. The pine needles are all done. The other main branch is done. Once I'm finished this tree here, I have to do the bird's legs. That will be a bit picky. The bird's legs are going to go on this block and the outline for the sun. And then, of course, the calligraphy. So I've got some work to do still on this, and the printers are waiting for it. They want to get going on this next week. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Okay, let's look at a couple of prints. I passed you that link just a few minutes ago. It's to this, and this looks like a bunch of nothing. Let's have a look at this. Let me shrink that truck down. Thank you, sir. When do doors open for the 2021 print subscription? I don't know yet. It'll be in late November, possibly early December. I don't know, I'm sorry. I've got to get this print I'm doing finished first so that we can show it. Easy open package. What did I do wrong? Here we go. Nope. Now. Ho. I am so happy to get this. Okay, so happy to get this. What are we going to look at here? Okay, this, as I said, it dates from the 1920s. And what we have here, it's actually a woodblock print. It's on stiff paper, actually. It's not on really delicate Japanese washi paper. It's on stiff paper. 0 out of 10 for the unboxing. Whatever, what can I say? It didn't unbox well. We have a gradation here. This is a parody of a Hiroshige type design. It's a Tokaido type scene. It may have been done for them by Shotei. I'm not really sure. There's an illegible thing on the side here. I said it dates from the 1920s, and how do I know it dates from the 1920s? Because the back side of this is not a woodblock print. The back side of this, you can see it's divided into 3. And we have a map of the world with red lines across the sea. And we have empty space at the top, and we have the mark of NYK, Nippon Yusen Gaisha. Nippon Yusen Gaisha, the Japan Sea Travel Company. And there's a space for postage. And you can perhaps see what's supposed to be done with this. The person who has this thing would write a letter. Dear Marianne, we are here on the ocean liner traveling from San Francisco, ready to visit Yokohama. I will let you know later about our trip to Japan. They would fold it up. I'm not going to fold it. They would fold it up and put it in the mailbox on the ocean liner. This is a letter. It's not an air letter. It's a letter that would be written. It's a blank letter form for somebody who is on an ocean liner. And the ocean liners are all, the YKK line was a global transportation network. Yokohama and Kobe were their spots in Japan. This is not a woodblock print. This is printing press printing on this side of it. The front side is made as a woodblock print first, and then, which came first? I don't know. No idea which came first. And here we are. And they came from Victoria in Canada, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, down to places like Hong Kong, around to India, and back to Europe. It was a global transportation network. The map is offset printed. The woodblock print side is the front. And what happened to it next? These were printed in Tokyo in batches of thousands and thousands and thousands, taken on board the ships. And once they were on board the ships, this is what happened to them. Those pieces of paper, before they were handed out to the customers, the pieces of paper were taken onto a printing press in the ship, and they were printed with the menu for tonight's dinner for the first class passengers. So we have exactly the same object here. This one went through, this went on board ship. It was taken down to the printing press room. And this is, well, you don't tell you, you can see what it is. So that's why we had a big empty space on the picture. That's why there was so much empty space. It was ready for the menu. And here we are. You can read it as well as I can read it. The 15th of September, 1927. And what must have happened was the restaurants and stuff, they're planning their menu day by day by day, and maybe for tomorrow's menu, one evening, the chef and all his staff, they send the information for tomorrow's menu down to the printing press, and somewhere on that ocean liner, there's a guy with some kind of printing press. He sets all the type and he prints these off, and bang, 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 and the next day, these menus are on the table in the first class lounge, showing people what they're eating. And it's all sort of Frenchified. And I know nothing about the food here. Oignon espagnol. The main dinner, it seems, was roast beef or roast capon. You could have turkey or chicken, whatever it was. Capon. Duck? Capon. What's capon? And there's your menu on a hand-printed woodblock print. And then, of course, the person after dinner would take the menu. You take the menu with you. That's your normal, you know. You take your menu, and you're going to get one of these every evening. So after a 2-week trip, you've got a bunch of these. And, of course, as I said before, you write to your friend, "Dear Jane, wish you were here. I'm enjoying the wonderful travel." So these are woodblock prints. So when this came up yesterday on the auction, there were 3 of them. And what was really, really fun, the reason I was really excited about this auction yesterday, I've got a bunch of these menus, but this is the first time I've got some blank ones that are not printed, and also we have a double. And I've never, ever, ever seen a double. They must have been printed in a single registration mark, printed like this as a double. I've never, ever seen one of these before. You can see the burn marks on the back, interesting. The striations. You can see the bumps. I'll get the light on here. You can see the bumps on the back where the physical, the printing happened. So my guess is the offset printing would have happened first, and then the paper is moistened in the printmaking workshop, and then done. And there's the company. We know nothing about who these people are. It's Nippon Mokuhan Company, Tokyo, the Japan Woodblock Company. And I have no idea who these people are. This is 100 years ago. And the workshop, of course, is long, long, long gone. And we never, ever find these things in Japan, these menus. The menus I've got here, and I have a bunch of them, the menus I've got here all came to me from eBay. I haven't been active on eBay in the last couple of years, but going back about 10, 15 years or so, I was hunting eBay for these, and this is where you find them. You never find them in Japan at all, because of course they were taken on the boats, taken away. Is there a date? What's the date on this one? March 31st, I thought I said 1930, of course. And that global transportation system, of course, didn't survive the war. A number of their ships were commandeered by the military, Japanese military, and then, of course, there was no shipping tourism during the years of destruction. These are going to go on our collection on the website when we get around to it. What are you talking about? Capons? I don't even know what is it. A capon. Castrated chicken fattened up physically or chemically. Okay, now that we know about this, thank you. And the question, how do they keep stuff fresh on a transatlantic voyage? These are trans-Pacific for the most part, whatever, it's global. How do they keep vegetables fresh? You tell me. Did they have actual gardens somewhere on the ship? Or I guess there's refrigeration, I suppose. This is 1920s, 1930s. Refrigerated vegetables, dried vegetables, freeze-dried? I have no idea. But these were clearly, this was an upscale thing. This first-class passengers would have had access to whatever, you know. And I guess every port they stop, of course, you resupply and you restock with whatever. And I'm sure the menu wasn't planned before they left on the trip. The menu, the chefs make it up day by day depending on what kind of supplies they were able to find at the last port. If you get a bunch of beans came on board in San Francisco, then you put beans on the menu, you know, I guess. Also, somebody's saying here, after visiting a new port, the meals would be better. Yeah, I guess so. Fishing, I don't know. Fishing. Anyway, there we are. Very interesting item for us. I've had lots of menus before. I have never before seen one that was not printed. Oh, something else I meant to do here. Just one sec. Let me pop that open. I popped the switch there on the kettle. I really don't know which was done first. I really don't know. It's hard to tell. They would have used, a backing sheet for the most part, so when they're rubbing with the Baron on the back, it doesn't leave striations, but the paper is thick, so it leaves bumps. No idea. No idea. But yeah, I'm sure they had refrigeration. Okay, before we sign off, to finish off here, those of you who were here the other day, you know what happened? We got a little gift sent to us in the post. I have a kettle boiling here, and we missed this the other day. I didn't want to do it before I looked at the instructions, but the instructions now have told me what to do. And it says, peel this off. So there is a covering on this mug here. We're going to peel that off. And for those of you who weren't here, somebody has sent a gift to us, a Bob Ross mug, which is all black. But which is apparently about to change. These little coffee things I have, they're meant to be little tiny cups, like 150 cc's each. So this is going to take 2 of these things. I'm left-handed, so I guess I got to do it this way. This is a gift that came to us from Scotland. Somebody in Scotland sent this over. Dave needs his own cup. It's okay. Did I wash the inside? No, I didn't. I'm not really bothered about that sort of stuff. I think my mother's probably not watching it. It's okay. It's a brand new stuff. There's nothing inside. There we go. Okay, here we go. I've never seen one of these before, but let's see. Oh, it is. Something's happening. Something's coming. I've never seen one of these before. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Look at that. Well, I have no idea how this works. I've heard of these things, but I've never seen one before, but there it is. And I guess I didn't quite fill it to the top, so is that as far as we get? I guess. I don't want to make trouble here spilling this thing. There we go. It's not going to quite get to the top. Oh, it says something. Oh, no, it's this guy. I see. Come on, heat. There we go. All right, thanks very much for our unknown admirer over in Scotland. Thank you very much. It says on this thing, do not machine wash, do not use a scouring agent, do not soak. I guess they mean the outside. Do wash with warm water and soap. It is not dishwasher safe. Anyway, there we are. Oh, somebody knows about this. I ruined mine in the dishwasher. Okay, all right, well, I've been warned. Not that we have a dishwasher here anyway, but it's okay. For me, coffee cup washing means take it to the sink, rinse the inside, and put it back on my desk. So, okay. A picture covered by a temperature-sensitive black layer. Okay. All right, there we are. I am now going to have a double coffee. This is, by the way, just so you know, I am following my instructions. This is, I've thrown away the package. It is decaf. I only now drink decaffeinated coffee because of the glaucoma thing. Whether it makes a difference or not, I don't know. But anyway, there we are. We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents. Okay. Bit of a funny stream today. Thanks very much. The next one is going to be Thursday. This is now in our gap. I'm off for 2 days. I'll be back on Thursday working on this same block. And who knows what else might be happening on here as well. And if Tom 1060 is still here, I will try and remember to get maybe to see if we can work on that crab thing. I'll make myself a note now that maybe next Thursday stream, hopefully, unless something else interrupts, I'll try and bring that crab print down for you. So thanks for the jog. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Funny stream today. Hey, I enjoy reading this thing at lunchtime, though. Okay. Bye for now. Thank you.